If you're watching this video, you're probably a soccer fan heading into 2026, and you probably noticed that something is shifting with the boots pros are wearing right now. Not just the colorways, not just the branding, the actual technology, the design philosophy, and honestly, some of the secrets behind what pros are really doing with their cleats. It's all changing at once, right before the biggest tournament on earth. So instead of just showing you the new Mercurials and calling it a day, I've actually dug into the research, the insider reports, and the stuff the brands really don't want you to know. Because the story of soccer cleats in 2026 is way more interesting than any press release will tell you. Let's start with the one that genuinely surprised me. Nike is killing the high collar. In June 2026, the Superfly 11 drops, and the sock collar is gone. Done. After 12 years. That high ankle design that basically defined what a speed boot looked like for an entire generation of players. Nike is walking away from it right at the World Cup. The Vapor 17 is getting new atom knit upper technology, and the whole direction is shifting. Most fans assume the collar is just a permanent part of modern boot design. It's not. It was a trend, and the trend is over. But here's where it gets interesting, because it's not just Nike making a massive pivot. Adidas is doing something just as radical with the Predator, and if you've loved Predators for the last decade, this one might sting a little. The new 2026 Predator is ditching the rubber fins, those raised grip elements that made a Predator, the thing you could feel when you struck the ball. They're being dissolved directly into the upper mesh itself. It's called Nano Strike Plus technology. The grip is built into the fabric now, not sitting on top of it. The feel is subtler, more consistent across the whole boot. But that iconic texture? Quietly disappearing. Most people don't even realize it's gone yet. So two of the biggest boot lines in the world are making fundamental changes to their most recognizable features at exactly the same moment. That's not a coincidence. That's an industry-wide reset. That's important. But if you don't understand what's actually happening inside a pro's boot, not just outside it, you're missing half the story. Here's something almost nobody talks about. Roughly 20% of Premier League players are secretly playing in custom orthotics. A Premier League podiatrist with 10 years inside top clubs confirmed it. Thin, custom-molded plastic insoles made from foot casts, built specifically for each player. You can't see them on broadcast. They're invisible, but they're there. So when you buy the same boot a pro is wearing, you're literally only buying half of what they're actually playing in. The off-the-shelf version is missing the other half entirely. That's a wild thing to sit with, and it connects to something even bigger about how pros actually wear their boots. That same podiatrist revealed that many pros deliberately wear their boots 1 to 2 sizes too small. On purpose. The logic is real. A tighter fit means better ball contact and less foot movement inside the boot, which reduces the risk of ankle turns. But the trade-off is brutal. Bunched toes, calluses, blistering that most of us would find completely unbearable. So when someone asks what cleats the pros are switching to, part of the answer is the same model you can buy, just sized down to a level that would genuinely hurt a normal person wearing them. Which brings us to the injury science. And this is where it gets really uncomfortable for the brands. There's a concept in the research called the U-shaped injury curve for sole plate stiffness. A 2025 systematic review found that stiffer is not always better. In fact, past a certain point, a stiffer sole plate becomes dangerous. Too rigid, and it restricts the natural movement of your foot, spiking pressure in specific zones. Too flexible, and it amplifies the angles that load your ACL. The carbon plate marketing that says stiffer equals more power has a hidden ceiling. Past that ceiling, it doesn't make you faster. It breaks your foot. But that's not even the scariest part of the stud research. There's a name for the mechanism that tears ACLs, and it's called footlock. Bladed studs and screw-in soft ground studs generate what researchers call supraphysiological rotational torque. Basically, more twisting force than your knee and ankle are designed to handle. The foot plants. The body keeps rotating. And the ACL pays the price. The aggressive bladed stud patterns that brands market as explosive, those are the exact ones the injury literature flags first. The same feature being sold as performance is the one showing up in the injury data. Now here's a point that almost never gets made in cleat content, and I think it's genuinely heretical. The metatarsal break epidemic that swept through the Premier League in the early 2000s, Wayne Rooney, David Beckham, half the England squad before a major tournament. That might not have been bad luck. One analysis pointed out that those breaks happened in stiff-soled protection boots and asked a pointed question. When is the last time you remember a pro breaking a metatarsal in a pair of Copa Mundials? The argument is that the modern speed boot, with its elongated studs and lightweight synthetic upper, may actually cause the injury it claims to protect against. The plantar pressure spikes under the lateral midfoot in ways that traditional leather boots simply didn't produce. And here's a layer on top of that. Your non-dominant foot is at higher risk inside the exact same boot. A biomechanics study found that young players carry higher pressure in the fifth metatarsal and hallux of their non-preferred foot. The boot isn't neutral, it interacts with your footedness. Your weak foot is being loaded differently, and most players have no idea. That's important. But before we get to what you should actually watch for on the pitch this summer, drop a comment below and tell me, are you a mercurial player or a predator player? I'm genuinely curious which side this community falls on, and if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Now, the most entertaining thing I learned researching this video. Blackout boots are not a style choice. When you see a pro playing in all-black logo-less boots, no swoosh, no three stripes, nothing, that is a contract signal. It means that player has no active boot deal right now, and they are advertising their availability to every brand watching. It's literally the oldest trick in the game. Black out the boots, let Nike and Adidas see you performing without their logo, and wait for the offer to come in. So the next time you're watching a match and you spot a pro in all black boots, you're not watching a fashion choice. You're watching a negotiation happen in real time. And when that negotiation closes, the deal they're signing might cover a lot more than cleats. Boot contracts in 2026 routinely cover products that have nothing to do with football. Sunglasses, headphones, electronics, skincare, moisturizers. Some players signed deals thinking it was just about wearing the shirt or the boots and found out later it covered their entire personal brand. Every product they're seen with publicly. So when a pro switches cleats, they might be locking up their face, their social media, and their lifestyle image all at once. The cleat is just the visible tip of a much bigger commercial agreement. So let's bring this all together, because there's a lot here. In 2026, two of the biggest boot lines in the world are making fundamental design changes at the same time. Nike killing the collar, Adidas dissolving the predator fins into the fabric. The pros wearing those boots are often sizing down to a painful degree, playing with custom orthotics you'll never see, and navigating injury risks that the brand's own marketing quietly glosses over. The stud shape matters more than most people think. The sole plate stiffness has a danger zone on both ends, and your weak foot is carrying more risk than your dominant one inside the exact same boot. The reality here is way more complex, and honestly, way more fascinating than any top 5 cleats of 2026 list will ever tell you. If this kind of deep dive content is what you're here for, the next video on this channel goes even further into the biomechanics of what actually makes a pro dangerous on the ball. And some of it will completely change how you think about your own game. It's worth your time. See you there.
Look closer next time. The boots never lie. Subscribe. The World Cup's coming.